Lewis Hamilton will be more motivated than ever to bounce back from his 2021 title heartbreak and make history this season, say the Sky Sports F1 pundits ahead of the return of that intense Max Verstappen rivalry. In terms of career wins and total career points, Lewis Hamilton is the best Formula One driver to have ever graced the circuit. The Brit has taken wins in 30 different countries, and with a contract that runs to the end of 2023, he looks to be able to push even further ahead on many of them. 2.5 months on from the hugely controversial finish to Hamilton and Verstappen's championship battle that saw the Dutchman emerge victorious with a last-lap overtake, Formula One 2022 is preparing for liftoff with the final preseason test this week before the first race on March 20th. And guys, in today's video, we're going to talk about, will Mercedes driver be at his best in F1 2022? Without further ado, let's begin. The Mercedes star was one lap away from winning a record-breaking 8th world title last season, but lost under hugely controversial circumstances to Red Bull's Verstappen. Race director Michael Massey, who has since been sacked, was heavily criticized for his handling of the safety car in the final laps of the season finale in December at the Yas Marina circuit, which left Hamilton to consider his future in the sport. Lewis Hamilton will likely be extra motivated than ever to bounce again from his 2021 title heartbreak and make historical pass this season, says the Sky Sport F1 pundits forward of the return of that intense Max Verstappen rivalry. Hamilton, whereas nonetheless livid about how an epic season completed, has vowed that Abu Dhabi won't outline his profession, whereas additionally sending an ominous warning to his rivals with the message, "If you assume what you noticed on the finish of final 12 months was my greatest, wait until you see this 12 months." And it's that assertion of intent the Sky F1 pundits imagine says loads concerning the 7-time world champion's mentality heading into 2022. However, Hamilton confirmed his intentions to race again this season before sending a warning shot to the Dutchman, and it is that statement of intent the Sky F1 pundits believe says a lot about the 7-time world champion's mentality heading into 2022. When Lewis Hamilton comes out with a sentence like that, you have to take notice, says Anthony Davidson. He sure is fired up to win this thing once and for all, and I think he'll be hard to beat. He's certainly coming into this season with a very bullish mentality. And Davidson, who raced 24 times and is a simulator driver for Mercedes, believes that statement of intent from a fired-up Hamilton will be a worrying sign for any competitors just days before the new season kicks off. With all new cars for 2022, it is not yet clear what the pecking order will be, or indeed whether Mercedes and Red Bull will be as closely matched at the front as last year. But Davidson added, "There will be nothing more than Lewis wants from this season than to destroy Max Verstappen. Let's not beat around the bush. He feels absolutely robbed as to what happened last year in Abu Dhabi. He wants to come out with a dominant car, and he doesn't even want to see Max on track, I'm sure. He just wants to show him a clean pair of heels, disappear off into the distance, and win his 8th world championship." Karun Chandhok continued on Hamilton. One of two things was going to happen after Abu Dhabi. Either Lewis was going to be disillusioned with the sport, or you'll pull the tail of the tiger. I suspect we've got the latter. Verstappen and Russell hot on Hamilton's heels. The final 3-day preseason test, starting this Thursday live on Sky Sports F1, should provide a clearer picture of which team has stolen a march to begin the new 2022 era. But once the lights go out for the first time in Bahrain on March 20th, there can be no doubt that Hamilton versus Verstappen rivalry will renew. 1996 world champion Damon Hill has tipped Hamilton to come out on top this season, stating, "I think Lewis knows what he's dealing with Max. I think Max has shown he's a hardcore, uncompromising driver and competitor, and Lewis showed last year he's willing to show the hard side to him too. Verstappen won't be the only young determined star Hamilton has to contend with this year, for he has a new teammate named George Russell at Mercedes, the Briton having shown over 3 years at Williams. Jenson Button expects Lewis Hamilton to get the better of Max Verstappen in the 2022 Formula One season, but he thinks that George Russell could still beat his fellow Briton to the Drivers' Championship. Button believes his former teammate Hamilton's greatest threat to a record-breaking 8th crown could come from his new Mercedes partner. George Russell in a Mercedes alongside Lewis is going to be a really interesting dynamic to see how it works out, Button told Sky Sport. George is absolutely superb in quality. There's no doubt he'll pull laps out and surprise Lewis, says Paul Di Resta. But I think people underestimate Lewis and how relentless he is in the race. He's an absolute animal when it comes to what he can get out of the car. Red Bull chief also pinpointed the rivalry between Verstappen and Hamilton. I think the rivalry between those two, Max and Lewis, has been so intense. I think you might see a couple of other drivers come into that fray as well. It was epic last year, and if that continues, I think there's going to be some fantastic races next season. The sport has never had so much coverage and so much support. It's great to see. Red Bull were unhappy with the way Mercedes celebrated. The incident was one of several major clashes between the rivals. Team principal Christian Horner accused Hamilton of dirty driving, and Verstappen highlights the event as his lowest moment of the 2021 season. It was the most painful one of all. It was tough point-wise, but literally, it was very painful, Verstappen told The Guardian. My neck, my back, my shoulders. I'm quite tough, and I can take quite a hit, but it's not good for your body or your brain to have an impact like that. They went into the final event, the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, sensationally level on points, and the championship came down to the final lap. Hamilton had led for most of the race, but a safety car had prompted the FIA to request that 5-lapped cars between the title rivals unlap. The race was then restarted and, on softer tires, Verstappen was first to the checkered flag. Mercedes were furious, but the Dutchman does not believe his success was overshadowed. Subscribe, like, and comment your thoughts below.